Right then, full-time Devils preview time. It is the Wolves preview. Joining me today, Adam McCullough is here. Hello, Adam.
Hello.
Howson's here. Hello, Howson.
Hiya.
He's buzzing. James is here. We're going to get a big, excited hello from James. Hiya, James.
All right.
No, okay, no, right.
No, not from James.
I know.
I'm having a good minute today, Adam.
James,
Right, we did all right against City last night. So
mentions on fucking by tweeting some shit on Full-Time Devils. Jesus, wet James.
He didn't. Right, James didn't tweet any shit on Full-Time Devils. James did what Full-Time Devils is about, giving fans their opinion. And James put his opinion on the Twitter account.
It got completely misread. So I put one tweet out and then one,
which it was.
Takes on Twitter.
To be fair, James, it was proper bollocks, that.
Yeah, but it takes one person to reply, and then all of a sudden everyone else says the same thing. And it got like misconstrued. What I meant was...
The internet's taken things out of context. Well, I never.
What I meant was, I said Rashford on his social media, he sends the right messages, whereas Pogba, who, like, it's just saying, like, Rashford sets a good example, whereas Pogba, like, he's pissing about and acting like a twat. That was it.
No, that's not true, though.
I just think it felt weird, maybe. No, because James had loads of opinions last night, not just the one about Paul Pogba, and I think a lot of what you said about the game, I personally agree with.
I think it's important to address things like that, because they paint a picture. Look, James is one of the boys. I've got no issue with him, but when, like, stuff like that is daft, because we see Paul Pogba working on social media all the time. I think someone recorded like how much they use social media, and like Nemanja Matic at times was using it more than Paul Pogba last season, and it's just weird. I just find it.
Matic was saying some mad shit this season.
Yeah, like
basically just being almost like, get me out of there, anyone.
The way we judge Paul Pogba, like, it's just stop it. It's judging for his football, judging for his agent, judging for maybe wanting to leave or whatever, but over daft shit that don't really mean nothing and he's not even the worst at. I find it just stupid. And plus, the other day, he did what you accused him of not doing. The other day, he posted something like when Rashford scored or whatever, so...
Yeah, but that's one thing, though. If you look at, like... I'm just saying, right, I'll draw a line under it now, but it was pissing about...
James, you haven't tweeted happy birthday to Berbatov today. Does that mean you hate him?
No.
Well, I think you should go and tweet that right now, James.
Why?
If we can all say
that's the point.
A big happy birthday to Dimitar Berbatov, and maybe we should all care a little bit less about what footballers do on social media, because I'm not arsed.
Which emoji should I use?
Right.
I'm going to go with the one when you write birthday. It gets like a little dude with a hat on and a little dinghy, and then the hands. That's what I'm going to do. Happy birthday.
Good choice, I think. Maybe even that little dancing woman in the red dress as well. I usually use that one for happy birthday messages.
I bet you do.
Yeah, no, I do. Right, let's move on to something positive, and let's talk Bruno Fernandes. That's right, Manchester United have acquired a new player that we've been after for about 5 years. So James, let's start with you, mate. How do you think Bruno could influence this game, if you think he will have any influence?
Well, I think if he does start, which is a big if, because he's not actually officially signed yet, although I think it will get done today. I think you looked at it last night, we're calling out for a creative midfielder, and even though we've got someone like Mata who can play in that position, he's too old, he doesn't do it to the right efficiency, and Bruno can come in, he can slot into that position quite well, and I think against Wolves as well. I think we had an issue, especially in the cup game when we played them. We just seemed to pass it sideways too much. We couldn't sort of break them down. And I think if Bruno starts and he's fully fit and he's ready to go, then that's sort of the role I think we can expect him to play. And I think hopefully we might be able to get an early goal against Wolves and push on from there. Because we saw it again last night. We were getting in the right positions, but it was just the problem with Fred is that he's a great ball carrier. But when it comes to actually, we saw it with that free kick, taking chances or even sort of creating chances, he just can't do it.
Adam, what scenario do you think we'll see Bruno in the Wolves game? Not involved in the squad, on the bench, or the very unlikely scenario that he actually starts the game?
As of yet, as we speak, it's not completed, so who knows how long it gets dragged on for.
Come on, lads.
You'd like to think there's enough time to get him through and get him registered in time to play in the Premier League at the weekend. And with Nemanja Matic, I believe, suspended now for that game, it's 1 in and 1 out again, which is pretty frustrating because I thought Nemanja's performance against Manchester City was much improved. And the problem we're finding with Nemanja now is that because we've got no midfielders, we're playing him every single minute. And there's games where his performances are obviously going to dip because he ain't got the legs. As for Bruno, if he's available for selection, I think he starts. Ali said in his post-match press conference that, or in one of the interviews after the match, that he's fit, he's ready to go. He's been playing regularly for Sporting Lisbon, scoring and creating goals regularly. Now, in a Man United shirt, I think those numbers might come down a little bit in terms of the goals and the assist output. His assists might actually go up because in Sporting, he was the main man. He was like what Jack Grealish is to Villa. We want you to do everything. Score the goals, create the goals. We're going to give you the ball and hope for the best. There's a video of Sporting after a cup final where one of their players says, if you leave, we're fucked. And it's kind of like the way they're looking at it. And I think I like that he's someone that can take that pressure on his shoulders of, I've got to carry this team. Now, at Manchester United, you'd like to think that's not going to be the case, especially when we get McTominay, Paul Pogba back, etc. But it's good to see someone that has that attitude of wanting to drag things through. He looks like one of those sore losers as well, which I've been saying we're crying out for. And I like that addition with a few more additions. I think Jack Grealish in the summer is one we have to get. You're looking at a profile of player that likes to take pressure and likes to take responsibility on their shoulders. But I would at the same time be a little bit hesitant to get carried away. We might have to just give it until the end of the season where we'll see him have up and down performances, trying to adjust to the Premier League. In some games away from home, he's probably going to be, well, what's this? What's going on here? So we have to allow him time to adjust, bless you, Steve. We have to allow him time to adjust and we have to give him a chance to settle in. But exciting player, but he's not going to solve everything. We still need a few more signings in various positions. But hopefully Martial had a bad game against City. And I agree with the criticism that he received after that game. But some of it has gone over the top with, his shit is awful, you can't play. Like, when we get someone like that in behind there, I think we'll begin to see a little bit more from those in the front three as well.
I like that because I'll be honest, Martial recently has really disappointed me with his performances. Do you think it is a lot of the time the creativity behind him, not necessarily him?
I think against City was poor, but then there's been games against Liverpool where he missed that sitter, but generally speaking, his all-round game was pretty good. And I think he's shown signs of improvement over the course of the whole season. There's been games where he's been in and out. But one, you're going to get that when you've got no creativity in the midfield. Two, I think he needs to get, like Ali said, he wants someone to break their nose for a goal. I don't think we've got any striker like that. And Martial needs to be goal hungry. He needs to be upset if he's coming off the pitch and he hasn't scored. And I think he gets frustrated with the lack of service, ends up coming out of the box. And then there's times when we're in a position to cross and he's not in the box. So it's a case of him just holding his position and realising, because when Rashford's there, if Martial pulls out of the position, Rashford will go into the position and he's got cover. But Daniel James isn't going to do that. Mason Greenwood hasn't got the experience to do that. So he's got to be aware that if I'm the only recognised striker on the pitch, I need to be in that box and take a bit of responsibility. But he'll grasp that this is his first full season in that position.
Halson, it's widely regarded that Bruno Fernandes is going to be straight into the first team when he's actually fit and ready to go. Do you think that's a bit of pressure on him in this struggling Man United team to be coming in halfway through the season?
No.
Not think? I know he was obviously Sporting's captain. You'd think he'd be able to take it on, but it's a lot more eyes on him here.
Right. What do you think he thinks he's walking into? Do you think he's going to be like eased in for 3 weeks and like given 5 minutes and little cameos here and there? Now is it fuck?
Maybe he feels like
spoke on the phone.
Maybe he feels like,
look, yeah, you're probably going to be in the team straight away, especially with Matic getting suspended. Like, we don't have a midfield. I've literally just tried to draw up 2 teams here. We don't have a midfield and we don't have an attack. What we do have is a load of defenders. So I'm pretty sure we're probably going to continue 3 at the back just because we've got numbers that we can actually throw in there. And actually, we've probably got options that we could roll around if we decided to go with that. We've got no midfield. Okay, if you don't start Bruno, who are you starting?
Lingard, Pereira.
Yeah, you're starting Pereira and Fred, sound, because that's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so if you don't start
Fred has been good. Why? Put some respect on
No, Fred has been good, but as a pair, they're not good.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not.
So,
put some respect on his name.
But,
and then ahead of him, you're looking at Matter or Lingard. So, of course he's starting.
So when you say, like, what do you think he's walking into? Maybe he's got the idea that he's walking into a normal 5th place team in the Premier League with a very young squad and not Manchester United, who it seems like everything implodes when we lose a game with one of the youngest squads in the league in 5th place, which I think if it was any other team would be considered a positive season so far.
At the end of the day, mate, he's going to go straight into the team simply because of lack of options. It's either him or fucking Dylan Levitt that's going to play in it at the end of the day. And he's here to play football. And he's not like he's coming off an injury. He's match fit. He's ready to go. He's probably excited. I think if you played him probably in the 10 position or wherever, to be honest, but especially in the 10 position, there's little tactical need for a number 10 to know everything about what's happening with his teammates and where they are and all that lot. You just need to go stand there on a corner, which is definitely inside the box like every other fucker, and stand there when we're taking them, or go and take the corners and let's see if you can actually get it past the first man rather than all the other fucking cranks that we've got trying them now. You play him in a number 10 and just go, mate, just play your game, play what you see. Because that's what a number 10 is meant to do anyway, is to play off the cuff and try and create things. Like, he's going to walk into this team because there is literally no other fucking options. And I'm sure the adrenaline of being able to make your debut at Old Trafford would carry him through it. You know, the entire rest of the team played last night and he didn't play last night. So he's not going to be more tired than the rest of the team. He's going to do a bit of a running on a treadmill today with one of them fucking Darth Vader masks on. That's it. Be happy days. He'll be ready. He'll go meet the rest of the squad tonight after doing 5 hours of bollocks for MUTV, and then he'll train tomorrow, and then he'll be in the team.
So that could give us a bit of momentum, and as well as the actual recent cup form as well, obviously beating Wolves, smashing Tranmere, kind of winning against City. Do you think that momentum can be carried on into this one, James?
Well, I think so. I mean, look, a lot of people slated United for putting a full team out against Tranmere, even though really did sort of have a choice to do it. And although, it's Tranmere, it's still a good thing for the squad to win 6-0 and then push on as well. I mean, even though we didn't technically beat City last night, we won 1-0 out on the night. And actually, Solskjaer, I think he's the only manager to beat Pep Guardiola twice at the Etihad. And I think actually, like you were saying, we now can push on, hopefully, and hopefully these last 2 games can give these players confidence. And now, as well, with the addition of Bruno, maybe we get a couple of players back from injury. That Wolves are probably, we played okay last time we played them. They were a decent side, and hopefully now, if we do beat them, it can give us a good assessment of sort of where we're at. And I think with Bruno as well, with him signing, if we don't have any strikers, maybe a couple of injuries, he could play as a false 9. I'm not sure whether he's played at that position at Sporting Lisbon, but, if we've got no Martial, Rashford's going to be out for a bit, then, it's probably good to give Greenwood maybe a rest for a couple of games and see how he does in that sort of position.
Adam, how do you think the momentum is going into this one? We've had some good wins in cup games recently.
We also lost against Burnley. Wolves is a difficult game at home. We saw in the game against Wolves at home in the cup that, it was split by 1 goal.
It was shit, mate. It was shit.
They're a very good team, though. Let's be real. They're a very good side. They've got better players than us in some positions. And I think we've got to take them seriously. But going into this game, if we've got Fred, we've got no Matic. That's the thing for me. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm disappointed we've got no Matic, but that's how far we've come this season. What kind of midfield do you play then? I agree with what Steve said earlier. It does look like Ollie's probably had one eye on Bruno coming in and thought, all right, let me go to this 3-4-1-2, play Bruno in that number 10 position, play Matic and Fred behind him, and let's see how that goes on. We're probably going to end up seeing Andreas and Fred in behind him now, which is a little bit too flaky for me, because if you're at home against Brighton or Norwich and you're going to have 60%, 75% possession of the ball, that's all well and good. But if you're playing up against a Wolves side who are pretty confident on the ball themselves as well, they could possibly knock it around us in the middle there. So that midfield battle is important. You kind of don't want him to get lost in this game and, amidst all the emotions of the transfer and all that and him making his debut. But it's a difficult game to come into. It might be a good one as well. I think most of the people that play for Wolves are Portuguese, aren't they?
Good point.
You might feel like playing in the Liga NOS. So, Yeah, but I wouldn't put all our hopes on him. Hopefully he comes in and he helps us become more of a fully functioning side. We've started to see like there's little bits where we're not fully cohesive. Against City, we scored from a set piece. Going forward, without Rashford, Martial looks a little bit lost without him at times. Mason Greenwood, he's been scoring goals, but as you'd expect, he doesn't quite offer enough from that wider position. And the front three isn't what it was without Marcus Rashford. And hopefully if Bruno can come in and try and just link all that together and bring a little bit more out of them, maybe Martial won't be so happy to drop outside the box because he'll be more confident in Bruno's ability on the ball to find him in the box. We may see a different team performance altogether.
Howson, what positives can we take from the recent cup games, especially that City game last night?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying we were extremely lucky to be in. City put the ball in net a couple of times, and the goals that they score were mint. They were absolutely quality goals. They were offside, so it was the correct call. But they tore us to pieces with ease. I don't see people saying that sort of thing when Burnley did that to us, though. You know what I mean? When we have 20 odd shots and they have 3 and score 2 goals, like it never swings back round the other way when that happens. I think you can say, look, Solskjaer is doing bits in some of the bigger games and some of the smaller games where you expect the ability of the players to have a larger impact in what they can do because it's just an off-the-cuff thing. Have you got the ability? Have you got the nous? Have you got the bravery to take someone on and put the ball in the back of the net? I think we're showing signs that we can compete even with this shit squad, and I think that Solskjaer's at least discovering the players that he wants in this team. And I think that showing how well we're doing relative to what we've got missing. I mean, Manchester City completely fucking crumbled when they lost Laporte. Mm-hmm. And United have had no Pogba, no McTominay.
Exactly.
No Marcus Rashford. And I think going into that game, even just having Rashford in the game, I think we'd have all been a lot more confident going into that. I don't know any United fan who was like, we're going through tonight. But we took it to injury time thinking it was still possible. Which is kind of mad, really, because there was people that fucking walked out in front of me at Old Trafford at half-time in the first leg when it was 3-0. And if you'd have told them then, look, we're going to be still pushing to try and get an equaliser in this game in the last minute at the Etihad after beating them there, you'd have been like, nah, I don't fucking think so. But that's the situation that we found ourselves in. I think if you look at the cold, hard facts of what's happened with United this season, we've lost our best player. We've lost our most informed player. We've lost our most improved player in Pogba, Rashford, and McTominay. All of those have been out. It's decimated our midfield, which had already lost Herrera, which had already lost Fellaini, and depending where you pin him, it's sort of lost Sanchez. The attack's holding up and scoring goals despite losing, sort of Sanchez and Lukaku that weren't all replaced. And we got to the semi-final of the League Cup. We're in the latter stages of the FA Cup. We're in the knockout stages of the Europa League. But for a couple of bananas performances that are indefensible, we probably should be around about 4th in the league. And I don't think we've got the 4th best squad in the league. So that's not bad for a season. Certainly not a great season. And I'm not ordering any fucking bunting for May. Absolutely not. But it ain't bad in the grand scheme of things.
Bunting, Steve, for the lad.
It's the only one we order.
Right, predicted 11s times. Howson, who are you starting in this one, my mate?
Right, we did all right against them with a midfield, a back 4, sorry. But I just think we're going to go to a back 3 against them this time. And I'm not sure that's a good idea against these particularly, but I do think that's what we'll do. And I'd like to see us go with David Nett, Maguire, Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka as a back 3. Rather than using Shaw, because I think Shaw's suspect in the air. What?
I was just thinking that that's something that I've thought about Wan-Bissaka potentially as a centre-half, but would have to be part of a 3, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't like Luke Shaw on the left of the 3. I did think Shaw did well, though,
Steve, the other day against City. He had there was times where he was getting 2-3 men around him and he was getting in there, breaking it up, and I thought, for someone that played out of position, I know it's kind of not out of position, and I suppose you got that little bit of protection with the other fullback there. thought he did all right, you know.
I think he's terrible in the air, and I thought he was a place that you target. I don't think that I would play him there.
I hear you, especially with Raul Jimenez. I mean, City are less likely to lump it in the air than Wolves, so that's fair enough. But I thought he deserved some praise for that performance for someone that played out of position and is, you know, as big as you.
So Wan-Bissaka alongside Lindelof and Maguire. I'd go with Delo, right wing back, and Williams left wing back. I'd go with Bruno and Fred in midfield. So it's like quite a ball playing four really across the middle there. But you've got that absolute bedrock behind you that I hope would be able to keep Wolves quiet. And then ahead, I've put Mata just for ball retention, but I think if you bring Bruno in, you might be able to get away with playing Pereira. Pereira's one of the most frustrating players I've ever seen. He really is like the fucking B-Tech nanny, isn't he? Because he's got everything to be amazing and just isn't.
But his head's shit. That's the problem. I mean, if he had a better head, he'd be able to make those decisions, but it just seems like he's not capable of it.
No.
What it is, he used to be so good in the 23s where he could do anything and it would pull up. And now he's playing with the men.
He was good on loan as well.
Memories of him doing amazing things. He wants to do all these different things when the simple pass is on and he don't do it.
And Greenwood and Marshall up front. I do like the two-striker system, and I think they'll get a lot more trade than they've had in recent weeks, and I think that would be enough to put Wolves away.
Adam, what is your 11?
Yeah, I think we'll continue with the 3-4-1-2. Steve, did you start Bruno?
You did?
Of course I did.
Are we starting players that like legally he's still a sporting player, isn't he?
Yeah, we are. We'll just put anyone in there, mate. Play Ronaldo if you want. Anything could happen.
Can I put Ronaldo in my team?
Yeah, sure.
Till tomorrow afternoon to sort it out. It's fine.
Right, sweet. So I'll have David De Gea in goal, back three of Sergio Ramos, Gerrard. I'll go Maguire, Lindelof, and I think that's a good shot with Wan-Bissaka, and you could put Delo then at right back, but I'm going to go with Eric Bailly. Surely we see him come back sometime now.
It's got to be.
So I'll go with Eric Bailly. The fullbacks in the four would be Wan-Bissaka and Brandon. In the middle, Fred and Pereira. Then you're going to have Bruno, Greenwood, Martial.
Decent teams. James, is your similar?
I reckon United bring on Bruno 58, 59 minutes on the clock. And
for no reason whatsoever.
Why would they do that?
Just for no reason whatsoever.
Idea of a walkout happening.
Do you actually think...
It's a bit shallow, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is Man United.
I feel like that anyone who's dedicated to a walkout at Old Trafford, I don't think a new signing coming on in the 59th minute would affect their intentions. And if it does, then you're probably not doing it for the right reasons anyway.
Why is the walkout specifically on the 59th minute?
It's not. It was originally floated that it would be on the 58th minute, and then there were people that said, let's not hijack the Munich Memorial, which was correct, because I agree with you.
At the end of the day, we've never had anything on the 58th minute for the Munich Memorial. We never do that. We don't do it before the game. We do it after the game.
It's the game closest to it, isn't it? So why do the 58th? So I understand it.
It's still a shit idea anyway.
The 68th minute, I think everyone get behind it. But
we've had way bigger protests before that haven't done anything at all. So why would not enough people would do it? And it wouldn't work. People already paid for their
if people think like that, then it won't. I hear you. I genuinely agree with you as well. I ultimately think it doesn't have an impact, but I also think that as fans of this club, we should have a voice. As fans of this club, we should be able to make a stand, and we should also be able to say we're not happy with what's going on. We're not going to get rid of the Glazers, no. But maybe if we make a note. And we make a stand, and you've got their commercial sponsors and they're all these kind of shareholders seeing and thinking, the stadium's empty. You got a new signing coming on. You're winning 1-0 or 2-0, and the stadium's empty. That doesn't make sense. Surely customers aren't happy. And I think that's something that Ed Woodward and all those kind of guys love to paint to these shareholders and these sponsors and these commercial aspects, that the customers are happy. We're not winning things, but the customers are happy. We've got great history. And if they can't paint that picture to people, they can't sell as much.
they're just going to sell the history of the club to the people that are trying to buy into it. They're not bothered about the current state of things.
Hey, that's what we know already.
Yeah. And I understand, James. I understand what you were saying then, where we've seen it all before. I mean, we've had the protests, we've seen the green and gold campaign happening before the game, the big walk to Old Trafford. I was there at that at 2009. We actually set up a new football club, let's not forget. A big load of Manchester United fans set up FC United of Manchester. So I understand the frustration thinking, well, it didn't work then, why would it work now? One thing I do think is that we are in an age of social media now, where this sort of thing can go massive out of absolutely nowhere. So it's a different time now, a different era. That was 15 years ago. I'm not talking about hashtags. That was the
same thing.
I'm not talking about anything like that. I don't think that'll have an effect. But imagine something visual happening at Old Trafford, how quickly that would spread on social media. I don't want to say whether it will work, whether it won't work, but I also don't want to say don't do it. Do whatever you want if you think the Glazers need to get out of the club. James, let's get your predicted 11s, pal.
Right, hang on. I'm gonna go different actually. I'm gonna go 4 at the back. Obviously, De Gea in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Williams. Fred and Pereira in midfield, and then if he's playing, if he's ready, Fernandes at number 10, James and Greenwood either side of them, and Martial up front on his own.
Nice one. Right, opposition. What can you guys tell me about Wolves? I mean, it should be pretty fresh in the memory. Adam, talk to me.
Can I also say on that thing, walkout thing?
Go on.
I spoke to Zayan the other day, and you see his fan cam after the game. And what we've also got to take note of is there's going to be some parents there with kids that are going to be in tears if you even suggest to them, we're going to walk out right now. Mm-hmm. So I think we've also got to bear in mind that there's some people that aren't going to be in a position to walk out, and not to start arguing with each other if it doesn't happen, because we all want the same thing. Do you know what I mean? But back to the question, Wolves, and we are doing more videos on the walkout as well, so they'll be up. But RE Wolves, obviously we know all their threats. We've played them enough times in the last couple of years. They're a very difficult side to play against. I think that last game against them will give us a little bit of confidence. But if I know them and I know Nuno, they'll be trying to think of something else around it. I think Brandon Williams has done really well with Adama Traore, who's obviously with his pace one of their most notable frontmen. But and he even forced him onto the other side of the pitch in the last game, which I like. Adama was like, fuck that, I'm going over here. Let me play on this side, Brandon's going to kill me, which I like to see. Raul Jimenez is obviously an aerial presence, always going to be a threat. But their midfield for me is quality. We all know how good their midfield is and how good their players are. Neves, fantastic. But Moutinho is the one that makes everything tick, and he costs £5 million. Now, I know there's some extenuating circumstances to that with their agent being part. I don't know. There's some, absolute madness with the agency and Gestifute and the ownership of the club. But crazy, man. Their midfield's very good.
Howson, Wolves. Tell me.
What more do you need to know? I think Nuno Santo's fucking mint as fuck. And I think that they got a decent side. They got a very strong midfield, and I think because they've got a strong midfield, and I think the midfield is such an important area for every single team. I mean, you go through every successful United team that has ever been and just reel off the fucking pantheon of legends that is the midfield for that team. There's no fucking passengers. You what?
Anderson.
Yeah, but he was like 5th choice.
Anderson scored a penalty in Moscow. I will not hear a single bad word said about him, please.
At 18?
Exactly.
He was doing fucking kick-ups on the sideline while everyone was fucking about. Bringing you on to take a penalty, and he's like, cool, and just doing He was a mad bastard, wasn't he?
Absolutely mental.
Oh, fucking hell. I've always got time for a big, mad South American bastard.
Do you remember the free kicks? When he used to stand behind the wall, just freaking out the goalie?
Yeah.
I got time for that.
The thing with Anderson was, right, people forget, people just call him a flop, but in his first 2 seasons, 07, 08 and 08, 09, he was good. He was lucky with injuries and that sort of thing, because if it wasn't for that, and also, he was playing in a much more deeper position. I mean, when he was playing in Brazil, he was playing as sort of a number 10, and Ferguson couldn't play him there, so he had to play deeper midfield.
You put in an iconic performance at Anfield once, which lives long in the memory. James, what can you tell me about Wolverhampton Wanderers, pal?
I can tell you that Anderson's better than Cleberson and he shits on Fabregas. But, Wolves, To be honest, I mean, I was at the first away game at Molineux, and they're a good team. There's no two ways about it. I mean, like you were saying, Neves. I mean, I can't believe no one's bought him. I mean, he's a bargain, really. I mean, in midfield there. I mean, I thought we've got to be able to not let him get volleys away from corners, because we saw it at Molineux, and even we saw it in the replay at Old Trafford. I mean, if he gets space on the edge of the box from corners, he's lethal from there. And I was surprised that he missed actually a couple of the chances he had. But they've got a good team, haven't they? But I think, like I was saying earlier, I mean, United over these past couple of games, I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if we beat them, because I think we do have. Our squad isn't good, but it looks as if we're gaining this confidence over these past couple of games or so. And I think, like I was saying, Wolves, good side, good players, good manager. They're an example of a team that we should be looking up to in terms of how they're built, because, okay, they've got a few sort of, if you take away the sort of dodginess of it all, they're a good run club. They sign good players. And if you look at United, I mean, compared the overall structure of the club, I mean, clubs like Wolves, clubs like Leicester, those are the sort of teams we should be looking at and looking at how to run a football club. It's good run.
Okay, score predictions. Howson, what are you saying? It's going to be a tough one, this.
2-0 United.
Ooh, I'd take that. I'm not sure about it, though. Adam, what are you saying?
Bruno Fernandes to score, United to win 2-1.
He's going to score, innit? He's going to score.
I have a weird feeling that he's going to be the difference. James?
I think it could be a draw, but I'm going to say United are going to win 2-0 anyway, because it wouldn't be me to give a ridiculous predictions, especially after the Watford game. We'll just forget about that ever happened.
What did you predict for that?
5-0.
We've all done it once. By
the way, I predicted 6-0 against Tranmere.
Did you?
Yeah, I wasn't entirely serious when I said it, but...
It's quite impressive, it's got to be said. I think I predicted 1-0 for Tranmere.
What do I win?
I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to predict 1-0 for this one. I'm same as James, actually. I'm a bit sceptical about it, but maybe Bruno Fernandes will be the difference. That's what I'm banking on. Guys, get what you think the score will be in the comments below. Who you think are going to be the danger men for United. Will Bruno get us the 3 points? Get him in the comments. Subscribe, like the video. Go and follow these guys. Howson, where can people go to see your stuff?
I wanted to say something really funny then, but...
Go on, say it.
City fan channels usually, taking a piss.
He's not wrong.
Search my name, find it.
He's not wrong.
If it's your first day on the internet, like there's other stuff you should be spending hours looking at, not me.
James, where can people find you, mate?
I'm on Twitter at James Young TV. I'm on Instagram, but it's a bit pointless. But listening, so I'm on the radio 2 till 6 every Saturday on Bro Radio. So if you're in like Barry and Morgan in Wales, then listen to that if you want.
Get on it,
it's
Bro
Wales every
Radio.
weekend as well, so you might be in luck if you're in Barry.
What are you doing in Barry?
Oh, fucking hell.
What did he say? I didn't even hear what you said then, Adam. Adam, score.
Never mind.
Score prediction. Score prediction, Adam. Score prediction.
Didn't I say
that?
Oh, have you done it? All right, okay. I'll say 1-0 then, I think. It's a tight one. Right, guys, we're out of here. Full-Time Devils preview. Catch you next time in a bit. Laters.
Right.
Bye.